Alright, this video is going to be about, not so much, making materials. I'm not super great at it, and I'm not really going to go too in depth with it, but I wanted to make a basic fresnel shader. Like, kind of give you, like an outline of something. Let me see if I can make this bigger. And, yeah, there we go. So this gives you, basic fresnel. I only have it set to show this effect. I'm not showing it over. This is just a test material, by the way, just for speed's sake. I don't know why that roughness is at 0.5. That should have been at 0.5, or is it? Yeah, something like that. I don't want them super shiny. Okay, so over here, you got your basic fresnel color, which is promoted variable, so you can access this in like a dynamic material or something. In this case, I just chose red. Doesn't matter. You can set this later. So you got this fresnel exponent here. This kind of handles how far to the edges it'll go. If you have this set at, let's say 2, and keep in mind this takes a while to update for some stupid reason. Yeah, you notice it covers way too much of the model. I don't want it to completely change everything into this, ghosty red look. And then if you have it on something high like 20, it'll crush it too far to the edges where it's barely even noticeable. So I found, 8 or 10 or somewhere in that range kind of pushes it back some, but you can still see, a pretty decent little border. So that's the exponent there. And then from there, what I wanted to do was further crush out some of these. This camera is terrible in the editor here. I wanted to further crush out some of like these, some of the bands in there. So I took it and I multiplied that color by a very small decimal point, which essentially just darkens the color. 0.05 times, well, we can do this real quick if my calculator will open. So, you get, let's say it's 255 for colors. I can't hit the multiply key on there because it'll pause the video. You multiply that by 0.05. Now that gives you like 12 or 13. So anyways, it takes the colors down a lot. It takes down, well, in technicality, down to 5%. Well, in this case, we're using floats here, just 0 to 1. So 5% of that. And I need a drink. Alright, so we're taking a percentage of that, and then we're just subtracting that percentage off of our fresnel effect here. I should order this correctly. And I've got a multiplier right here attached to a toggle, so when this is set to 0, it will disable this effect. And when this is set to 1, it will enable it. And that's all I want. I don't need to do anything else. So going into the actual character, you'll see, I can ignore a lot of this. This was just some nonsense for making things fall around. Alright, so, I did an on-event begin play to set materials because, I don't know, like, in the construction script, I found that it would screw me up because once you set this, and I didn't really truly comprehend what it meant by this, um, I would, place something in the scene that had some kind of setup going on. And then if I change something, then it would only apply this to the next item that I put into the scene. So I was getting tired of doing that, so I did it here off of event begin play. So, we make a dynamic material, we store it, we come in here and we manually, make sure and set the fresnel color. Then we created a dynamic instance for the cone, the little cone that bobs up and down. We store its variable, and then we can change that as well. So I have it set to red by default. I think it's like gray or something like, yeah, it's gray. So then when this target gets locked onto, it'll hide and unhide the little cone. Then I'll come over here, and it'll go ahead and toggle the fresnel effect on and off, which was that multiplier right here that essentially just says, hey, zero, anything times 0 is 0, anything times 1 is itself. So just act as a toggle switch. So it comes in here into a simple timeline. Just have an interval. Well, in my case here, I found for this fresnel distance, or so to speak, at 0.01 to 0.05, anywhere from 1 to 5%. See, at 1%, it's almost the whole thing, but then at 0.05%, it pushes it back quite a ways. I found that really did it for my liking. So it alternates between those two numbers over a second and a half, and it outputs to the Fresnel distance, which is that variable that I was just showing you there. And also it's set to repeat. I have to pause this video every like 5 seconds to cough. This is great. So anyways, the pulse coming out of there comes in, it modulates this number between those 2 points, and then at the same time it comes down here, and I clamp the range of it from the 2 numbers to 1 to -1, and then have a little multiplier, so it'll go up 5 or down 5, and then this is an offset for accounting for the height that the character is. And then it goes here into the Z location, and that adds that little bobbing and whatever you want to call it effect. So that's that. And then over here, it's pretty much the same thing for the second variant enemy, I guess you could call it, except I added in this little feature here. I made a color inverter. It's just 1 minus whatever color is there. The body color of the character happened to be like this purplish color, which actually I think is, yeah, it's pure purple. It's 101. So to come up with the opposite color of that, which should be, if that was 101, it should be 010, so it should give you pure green. And it does. So it's pretty much the same identical thing. It's just a slightly different variation. So I select him, and you zoom in, and it's green. I'm intentionally trying to break through the polygons here to show you. And then on these guys, it's red. So that's that. I'll be updating more as I go along. I still got to fix this targeting system a little bit more. I want to add in that priority that I was talking about before, the 4th priority. But other than that, I'll keep people posted with any new changes that I make. So thanks for watching.